And the moment has arrived. Guys! Absolute Batman 7 is out, and it's time to chat about everything going on in this story and keep up with all the new stuff happening with this fresh Batman. Issue 7 kicks off a new story arc, and this is where we'll meet the new Mr. Freeze. So stick around in the video to see everything that went down in this story and to get the scoop on the origin of this new Mr. Freeze. Let's go! The story starts off with a flashback. In Tanzania, a kid is traveling with his dad. This kid's name is Victor, and he and his dad are heading to the land of ice to study glaciers. But Victor isn't feeling it, he looks sick. Soon enough, we see the kid's eyes bleeding, and the name of the new saga is revealed, Absolute Zero. In the present day, in Gotham, we see that snow has blanketed the whole city. Bruce Wayne's friends are in Crime Alley paying tribute to a friend who just passed away, and this friend was named Mitchell Matches Malone. They say Matches was a bit off, and he actually got his name from a challenge they did as kids. Croc asks who was the last to see him, and just then, Bruce shows up saying he was the last one to see Matches alive. The story then jumps back 1 week to show what happened with Matches Malone. In voiceover, Bruce mentions that the city has been feeling weird since the Black Mask incident. Gotham has been placed under martial law, the mayor's issued a curfew for the citizens to keep them safe from threats like Batman, and on top of that, a snowstorm is coming. Bruce feels like something's brewing. He doesn't know what it is, but he has this gut feeling something big is going down. Wayne suspects it has something to do with Arkham, which is being built on that island. Bruce says he needs to find a way to get in there, and that's why he's on the bridge at that moment. It's at this point that his buddy, Matches Malone, shows up. Bruce had asked Matches to forge some fake work papers so he could gain access to the island, but he'd lost touch with Matches for 2 weeks until Matches finally contacted Bruce saying he needed to meet urgently. Bruce's friend seemed super anxious. He says he got the papers, but he also found something even better. Matches is clearly worried about something, like he's running from someone. It's revealed that he had been undercover at Arkham for a week. Bruce gets worried about his friend doing that since it's a dangerous game, but Malone loves a risky play. It's at this moment that Matches makes a big reveal to Bruce: Arkham is already operational, even though parts are still under construction. Malone says they're doing horrific experiments on people inside, and he mentions he's going back there the next day, but before that, he gathered some evidence. Bruce says he's not mad at him, but his friend shouldn't be taking such risks in his place. Matches insists he did it on his own terms, but just as he's about to reveal more, his face starts bleeding through little wounds, and then Matches collapses, lifeless. Bruce is freaked out and bolts from the scene to make sure no one else sees him there. Back in the present, Oswald, Edward, Harvey, and Waylon are shocked by the story Bruce just shared. Wayne says his friend died from a biological weapon, but that's not the whole story. His friends want to know more about Bruce since he disappeared after the battle with Black Mask. Oswald even cracks a joke about Bruce being dressed as Nosferatu on his plane, but Bruce doesn't want to talk about Batman with his friends. However, Waylon won't let Bruce off that easy without mentioning Batman. The story then cuts to a few days in the future, where Batman is investigating the death of Matches Malone. The Bat mentions in voiceover that there wasn't much evidence on Matches' phone. There was just a 4-second video showing a hallway with cells without windows and people screaming. At the end of the video, there was a list of names, and those names belong to researchers: Dr. Langstrom, Isley, Strange, and Freeze. These names are clearly iconic Batman villains. The Dark Knight investigates these names but can't find any connection to Gotham except for Dr. Victor Freeze, who's a pioneer in cryotech and opened a company called V-Corps. That's why Batman is flying around investigating this company. But now he needs to be extra careful because Gotham has turned into a besieged city since the curfew started. Several police airships equipped with modern drones are patrolling the city. While Batman dodges drone attacks, Alfred calls to discuss Matches Malone's death. Alfred reveals to Bruce that Malone didn't die from a biological weapon or a virus, but from a bacteria. But this is completely new. There are no records of this bacteria. Alfred doesn't know where it came from, but he and Batman will talk more about it when Alfred returns to Gotham. In a sequence of stunning art, Batman, channeling his inner Spider-Man, performs various maneuvers and evades the cops while finishing up his call with Alfred. The story then returns to the moment where Bruce was talking to his friends in Crime Alley. Bruce says he doesn't have anything to say about Batman, but then his friends inquire if every time Bruce was with each of them, he was actually training to be Batman. Wayne cuts in and says he doesn't want to put his friends in danger, especially now that Matches has died. All Bruce wants now is for his friends to get out of his way so he can refocus on his mission. After this, Bruce infiltrates V-Corps without being in his Batman getup. He goes in as a nobody, and after he gets inside, he comes across a bunch of frozen animals. Soon, someone appears saying that all these animals are real and that they came from various parts of the world. Bruce says his name is Pennyworth and makes up some reason for being there. The person he's talking to doesn't suspect anything, and taking advantage of it, Bruce asks if Victor and Nora Freeze are supervising this place. The attendant confirms they are, and then he presses a button, revealing Victor and Nora Freeze frozen, with wires attached to them monitoring their condition. The attendant reveals himself as Victor Freeze Jr., and he's the kid from the beginning of the story. Bruce is shocked to see them like that, but Victor reassures him, saying they're like this of their own will, and that it's all part of their devotions to Ice. Still confused, Bruce asks what this mission is, and then Victor explains that his parents believed Ice always had wonders for science. They founded V-Corps to preserve people's bodies in ice while waiting for cures for their diseases. The frozen people hope to be revived one day so they can continue living. Victor Jr. then tells Bruce that he was one of those frozen people and that he was brought back to life. When he was a kid, Jr. was diagnosed with a rare disease, which led his parents to decide to freeze him. Meanwhile, in parallel, the story shows more of Bruce's conversation with his friends. Croc says if Bruce keeps going solo, he's gonna end up dead. Back in the present, Bruce tries to find clues while forcing a conversation with Victor to keep him distracted. Bruce then sees something on the computer saying something about an ancient bacteria, leading him to conclude that the question isn't where the bacteria came from, but when. Just after that, Victor Jr. says that the ice isn't what everyone thinks. He transforms, revealing that all the time he was frozen, he felt pain. He says ice creates monsters, and then the story ends with Victor transformed into this creature, attacking Bruce. So yeah, everyone, we've started a new story arc in Absolute Batman. I gotta say I really dig the name Absolute Zero. It totally fits with Absolute Batman and also with Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is a Batman villain who emerged at the tail end of the Golden Age into the beginning of the Silver Age. He started out as a guy who had to stay in a low-temperature suit to stay alive, and actually, when he first appeared in the comics, he was called Mr. Zero. In Batman 66, the villain became known as Mr. Freeze, and only in Batman the Animated Series did Victor Freeze get his story completely retooled into the version everybody knows, a scientist who froze his wife until he could find a cure for her illness, but ended up having a lab accident that transformed him into Mr. Freeze. The animated series version was so successful that it's still regarded as the best take on this character. Now, in Absolute Batman, Scott Snyder, who's the writer of this comic, brought a different take to this universe that's an alternate Earth. In my opinion, there's still a lot to learn about this version of Mr. Freeze, but this introduction was pretty intriguing. Some things we already know about the villain have been slightly altered, but it still resonates with the Mr. Freeze we recognize. The twist with the bacteria transforming him into a creature is an interesting new element. Also, in one of the alternate covers drawn by Brian Bolland, we see Mr. Freeze in this Nosferatu-like form, so we're really dealing with a completely different version than we're used to. It's still early to conclude whether this new version is good or not, so we'll need to keep an eye on the development of this character to better understand the layers that make him up. On top of all that, what really stands out in this issue is the art. In this story, we don't have Nick Dragotta on art, but Marcos Martin does the work, and even though it's a different style from Dragotta's, it still maintains a solid level. The narrative in this issue is a spectacle. I really like the panels where Batman is escaping from the cops while talking to Alfred. The art really shines in that moment. This art, along with Monza Vicente's colors, makes for a beautiful composition and keeps the reading enjoyable. I genuinely liked what they achieved here. One detail worth discussing is the introduction of Matches Malone in Absolute Batman. Here, Matches is one of Bruce's friends, but in the main Earth, for those who don't know, Matches Malone is a disguise that Bruce Wayne uses when he needs to get into the crime underworld to gather information. The Matches Malone character was created by Dennis O'Neil and Herb Novik, first appearing in Batman number 242, in 1972. Matches was a gangster and arsonist from New Jersey whose identity was stolen by Batman after his death. We still don't know if Bruce will later use the Matches Malone identity to disguise himself here in Absolute Batman, but I doubt it, since in this version, Bruce Wayne isn't an extremely well-known guy everywhere. Plus, this version of Bruce Wayne isn't the type to go through various disguises during his investigations, unlike the Batman from the main Earth. I also like the development surrounding Arkham as the issues progress. It gives off a vibe that a lot of threats will emerge from there, just like in the main Earth, but I think in this version, we'll see many Batman enemies that are entirely different from what we're used to, so let's keep following Absolute Batman to stay updated on all the news in this comic written by Scott Snyder. So if you want to keep up with every little detail in each issue, leave a bat like here on the video and subscribe to the channel, with notifications on, so every time new videos about Absolute Batman drop, you'll be notified and can be one of the first to check out all the story details. I'm already prepping more DC videos, so you need to be subscribed to not miss anything. Thanks so much for being here in this video. I really want to know your thoughts on the new Mr. Freeze. Did you like this origin? Or do you prefer the version from Batman the Animated Series? Please drop your thoughts in the comments. And for you Absolute Batman fans, I'll leave 2 recommendations here. The first is our complete history video. The first story arc is complete here, so if you don't know everything that happened before this issue we talked about in this video, watch that recommendation, and you'll learn absolutely everything. And to stay updated on every little detail in each of the issues, just click this playlist beside and check out our reviews. Thanks for watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next video.